Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Sprouts LinkedIn Live. I'm Avi. I'm the co-founder here at Sprouts.ai. We are an AI-powered go-to-market intelligence platform. And today we are going to talk about, is GenAI ready to shape the future of enterprise sales in B2B SaaS? And to do so, we have a stellar guest with us, Neeraj Sabharwal, a sales leader and an engineer turned entrepreneur with over a decade of experience helping startups scale their revenue and find product market fit. Neeraj has helped businesses grow from 50K to 10 million ARR, and he's currently a founding member of enterprise sales team at Nexla, where he focuses on leveraging Gen AI and real-time data to accelerate enterprise sales. Now, apart from that, Neeraj is also an investor and Forbes contributor. Neeraj, thank you so much for taking our time and talking to us. I'm personally super excited to host you and looking forward to this discussion.
Yeah, Avi, this is great. I appreciate. And quick introduction: I'm based in San Francisco. As Avi, you mentioned, I started my career as an engineer, and then I moved over to sales engineering, then moved over to full-time sales. My expertise: I am a go-to-market expert for early-stage startups. This is my third startup, Nexla. My previous startup was Prophecy. Before that, I was at Pravesera. The idea here is very simple. I work with technical founders, technical CEOs very closely on their go-to-market strategies. And also, as the innovation is happening, generative AI is here. I figure out the strategy with those founders from the generative AI and more innovative solutions side.
Got it. Got it. No, this is great. Neeraj, directly jumping onto your journey and knowing more about what you do at Nexla, you are using Gen AI and RAG to power enterprise data integrations. Can you tell us more about it? Like, how are enterprises using this tech, and how do you see this technology shaping the future of enterprise sales? Like,
Absolutely,
what
yeah.
is today, and what is going to be the future, right? And how it
Yeah,
has changed in the past. So, if you
yeah, yeah.
can give us a very detail about it, we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. So Nextline is a data integration platform. But let me take a step back. So I come
Mhm.
from a very strong data background, and
Okay.
I started my career as a database guy. And as I moved from database to big data, I witnessed the whole evolution of Hadoop, and then I also saw Hadoop dying. And
Mhm.
then we moved into this more cloud native data services. And during those days, I always introduced my customers to some new tools, like legacy ETL, Informatica, Talent, many other tools. But then as the cloud transformation was happening, CIOs, CTOs, they wanted to move towards cloud. They said, you know what, we need more innovative solutions to do data engineering. And
Mhm.
this is where the whole idea of data integration comes in. So data integration is an umbrella term. Under that, you have various integration styles like ETL, ELT, CDC, many other things comes as part of the data integration. But where we are right now, we are witnessing this whole generative AI momentum. So for generative AI is saying that, for example, GitHub Copilot, many other tools out there, you don't really have to write code. All you have to do is figure out what is your data source, and then start building your data pipelines, either using code from or generative AI, or tools like low code, no code, pro code tools. And this is where Nextla plays a key role. So Nextla, what it does is it is a data integration platform. It has built-in integration with 500 different data sources. You can literally use drag and drop option, or you can just use no code option to start building your data pipelines. And on top of that, with this whole idea of NVIDIA and Nextla, when they joined forces of the generative AI came into the picture. And going back to your question, the idea here is that I want to actually create an AI agent. I want to create an AI prompt really, really fast, because my CIO, my CFO is waiting for that the intelligent solution. And this is where behind the scene, what generative AI is doing is it's helping by using Nextla's power. It's helping to connect to those different data sources, automating the schema mapping, and then started building those data products, which we call it the clean product, transform product. And on top of those data products, analysts, they can run their analytics or their Power BI reports, Tableau reports Data scientists, they come in, machine learning engineers, they come in, they can start building better machine learning models. And in the same way, everything is API driven. We can publish data to any SaaS application, to any of the APIs where you want to publish the data. So the point I'm trying to make is that from the business value point of view, you are releasing your data products faster rather than waiting for a data engineer or somebody else to give you the data, and so that you can start building your report. So we are making data teams more productive so that they can go to market faster with their data products. Now, behind the scene, generative AI is playing a key role, because that's the layer which is being exposed to business people, where they can start asking questions, very important, start asking questions based on their data sets. So now you don't have to worry about that. You know what? I don't have access to my own data. You can start building rack frameworks on top of your own data sets.
Got it. Got it. No, this is interesting. Neeraj, is it safe to say that using Gen AI, we are able to give away like save a lot of time for the analyst teams, right? Because you are increasing productivity. Is there some element of cost as well? Like, is Gen AI eventually, at the larger scheme of things, is going to bring a lot of cost efficiencies into the system?
Yeah,
In your
absolutely.
experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are 2 points actually I want to highlight. Operational costs. So for example, I remember when I go back to my database days, somebody will open a ticket, and I will take few hours to clean that ticket, transform the data, send the data back and forth. It takes 2 to 3 days. Now, going back to the cost component, operational expense. Now, what's happening is, rather than waiting for those 2 to 3 days, what I can do is I can give this generative AI based solution to a business person, where he or she does not have to worry about writing code or figuring something out. All he or she has to do is type simple natural language processing, simple English, and then start building their data product. So the point is, operational expenses reduce, because now I am free to focus on other important projects. And you, as a business person, you are actually releasing your reports, your analysis faster to business people, so that they can make better data driven decisions, right? That's the first part. The second part, going back to your original question, for the go to market point of view, when it comes to generative AI, the personalization is huge. We all hate marketing emails, because we are getting spammed by so many vendors. Now, if I know, using Gen AI, that Avi loves so and so product, or doing so, or shopping for so and so product, I can use AI. I can just make a hyper personalized email or message just for Avi, and I can just send that message to Avi for this. Now, what's going to happen, instead of Avi ignoring my message, he will pay attention to me, and then I can start building that sales momentum with you based on your personal research. Now, it was there before generative AI, but now, going back to your point, now with generative AI, we can do all this with speed, with the volume, rather than
Yeah.
waiting for a human being to do that work for us.
Got it. Got it. No, this is like super helpful, Neeraj. So coming back to the point, right? Like the sales part, we understood how it's going to improve our productivity, how it's going to save cost and bring operational efficiency. But how do you think that Gen AI is impacting B2B SaaS sales today?
Yeah.
And Neeraj would love to know from you in terms of what are key levers which a newbie salesperson or rookie salesperson like me can use for effective growth
Yeah,
using Gen AI.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also author of a book called Founder-Led Sales.
Okay.
It's on Amazon. So something happened last year. So I have actually published several books. It's all on Amazon. But the Founder-Led Sales book actually talks about what you just asked. So there's a framework I shared, and as an engineer, I'm a very like logical person. I did mechanical engineering in India. I grew up in Chandigarh, and then I came to US, and then as a mechanical engineer, turned into a computer science guy, and then turned into sales engineer and a sales guy. And I'm being a top performer for last 7+ years in all those different startups. And this is where, close 10 million plus ARR in last few years. It's all boiling down to one thing, which I share in my book, is a framework. Framework is, and it's not a rocket science. You have a ICP, where
Mhm.
your ideal customer profile, and I will talk about very soon. And then on the next level is product messaging. And this is something I mentioned. You cannot screw up your product messaging. And there is a thing which I talked about. So I'm a huge fan of Simon Sinek. He talks about a golden circle. There's a 19-minute video on YouTube, which was, I think, released in 2009. I think every salesperson, every founder should watch that video. It's a TED Talk. And
Okay.
what Golden Circle talks about, when you start a conversation with why, that
Mhm.
why do I exist, why are we doing this, we are doing this to help the community to understand, how the go to market works with Gen AI. Then you talk about how and what. So when you are doing your product messaging, when you start with why, then you talk about how and what, you can nail down the problem statement very clearly for your prospect. So find your ICP, product messaging, then you build your inbound and outbound momentum. We all know tofu, bofu, mofu. So those three key terms everybody should be familiar with. But now coming back to generative AI, this is something I am actually experimenting with multiple tools. I know you and I, we were just discussing a different tool. Uh, the challenge right now for the companies is lead generation. if you talk to
Absolutely.
marketing if you talk to marketing team, they are worried about their MQL. You talk to salespeople like me, they are worried about SQL, sales qualified lead or marketing qualified lead. So generative AI is playing a key role as part of the lead generation and qualification. AI powered tools, they are analyzing large amount of data really, really fast, and they're qualifying or disqualifying those deals. Now, something important, when you qualify a prospect, let's say as a MQL, now you have to figure out how to get attention from you. How can I do more personalized research, right?
Absolutely.
As part of the personalizing the research, then the next piece is the building that intelligence, the sales intelligence. No more crappy sales messages to your prospects. So when you have the sales intelligence built in, and I get your attention, the next piece is using generative AI. How can you do better forecasting so that when you report to your board, your investor about your revenue numbers, you're not wrong 100%. Many, like, there's a very high probability you will be wrong, but you should not be wrong 100% when you're building your forecasting, right? The last piece is content creation, because MQL, to bring you on my website, I need to make sure that you click on my blog or my webinar, right? And so the content creation, high quality content is very important. So when you put together all these different factors, it start creating your top of the funnel. And now we all know that content creation is very easy using ChatGPT, but this is something I want to highlight to the audience, that when you use generative AI to create your content, put that personalization in that. Take a moment, add it to those messages which got spit out by ChatGPT, because when somebody reads your email, somebody reads your LinkedIn post or any other message, they can feel whether you took a moment to customize that message for them or not. So that hyper personalization is very important.
Great, great. Neeraj, I have two questions, follow-on questions, two questions. Number one, you mentioned a very interesting part, right? Like, and we are seeing lot many companies which are coming up with personalization tools, but when the go-to-market teams are doing a reach out, each and every tool is giving a similar kind of an email, message, or content, right? You mentioned a very important point, which is do a lot of personalization. So, in terms of messaging, what are the things which, as a GTM person or a marketeer, should look at to make that personalization effective using
Yeah.
Gen AI? Yeah.
Yeah. So I had three bosses in last several years, and
Okay.
all those three bosses, they came to me. They said, "Man, we don't understand why the click rate and reply rate of your messages are so high than the other salespeople." And
Mhm.
I know I'm going to offend a lot of salespeople. I told them, I said, "Listen, we, now including me too, salespeople, we are lazy. We don't want to work too much. I don't know why, but me coming from an engineering background, so my mindset is different. But the way I do is, going back to your point, it may sound like it's not scalable, but we all know the fact, the wisdom, the quality is better than quantity, right? When you're
Yep.
sending out thousands of emails using Outreach, Mixmax, and many other tools, people know that this is the marketing stuff and they don't respond to it. But when you take a moment back and when you think about that, hey, I really want to close this deal, I really want attention from Avi by writing this email, it may not be scalable. But when you take a moment and put that energy into writing that email, Avi can feel it. And I know sounds very spiritual, but let me just explain this really quick. So when I do my outreach, sure, I use outreach, I use Mixmax, use multiple tools, but there is I start two swim lanes. First is the automated email with a highly customized message. In a way, it's not like 100 lines. It's 3 or 4 lines because we all have an attention span. So, Avi, hi, Avi. I'm Neeraj from Nextla. I know you're a co-founder of Sprouts AI. You really, really like this thing. Can we chat for a few minutes? I want to talk about this, right? Now, Avi knows that Neeraj has an agenda. If I'm just bombarding you with multiple messages with some random links, you're gonna say, dude, you're spamming me. But now
Yeah.
you know I have an agenda and I can add some value in your life and you can add some value in my life. I may get attention from you. So the point I'm trying to make is that when you write an email, when you create a template using AI, make sure that you take a step back, take the AI content, customize it based on your product offering, based on what you want and what you can give to your prospect.
Great, great. I had one more question to your previous answer, Neeraj. Is you talked about founder-led sales, right? You have came up with a framework for founder-led sales, and you also talked about why. So my question to you is, how come? What made you to write a book on founder-led sales? What has gone through? Have what has gone through your mind and experience? Slightly off topic on the personal side, but just wanted to understand because there are many founders who have joined us live, so and I'm pretty sure many of them are doing founder led sales.
Yeah.
So what led you to write a book on founder led sales is something we would like to know.
There are 3 stories, and as Steve Jobs said,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot understand life looking forward. You have to join the dots backwards to understand life. So I grew up
Absolutely.
really poor in India, and
Mm-hmm.
long story short, my mom always said, "Hey, get education, and you will be okay in your life." So I kept hustling, and I was 16 when I realized that I need to get out of this poverty. And this is where I made a decision that I borrowed some money. I did the mechanical engineering. And then I borrowed some money in my third year. Then I did the Oracle certification when I was in third year of my college. And then I started teaching computer science kids about the OCP, the Oracle certification. And that actually landed me into US. So when I came to US, I got married, I had a kid, and then I got divorced in 2008, 2009. And this is where my spiritual awakening came in, where I understood that I was blaming other people. And actually, it's me who I was wrong. So I started doing more self analysis. Then I became a detached observer, where that means that I said, you know what, no need to take anything personally and stay away from your ego. Of course, ego comes up sometimes, but as long as you have this self consciousness, you understand yourself that okay, there's an ego, there's an anger, there's I'm trying to control somebody, I'm trying to micromanage somebody. So the moment you have this conscious thought, you can detach yourself and go into your pure nature. So that's something happened in 2008. But what happened was I still had a fear, and the fear was I was not able to disclose myself or put myself out on LinkedIn in front of my coworkers, in front of other people, that hey, I'm an author of these spiritual books, because I thought I will be judged. But then last year, my spiritual birth is 28th December 2008. 29th December 2023, I was in an emergency room. I got a really bad food poisoning, and I was waiting during the Christmas time. I was waiting at the emergency for 4 hours, and I had this epiphany. I said, why am I afraid of sharing about my work in public on LinkedIn? And this is where I made a commitment to myself. I said, I'm going to start posting one post every day on LinkedIn. And my coworkers, my immediate friends, they all criticize me. They say, oh, this is spam. Stop doing this. People are going to judge you, and so on. But when you do something with the pure intention, which I did, which I'm doing, that I want to help people, I want to share my experience, so it didn't bother me at all. So the point is, from 29th December and for next few months, I started talking about founder-led sales, because I am passionate about working with founders, because founders, they are crazy. They make a lot of sacrifices as part of their personal life, and they are hustlers, And this is where my passion is, that I want to help founders more based on my experience and learnings.
Amazing, amazing. Pretty inspiring, Neeraj, what you have done and gone through. Uh, Coming back to the topic of like go to market. Uh, Now, Neeraj, there are like different stages of go to market, right? Like SMB, the motion is different. For mid market, the motion is different. For go to market, enterprise is different, right? Like, and obviously, the type of audience we sell into is very different. Early stage are more in like PMF exploring stage, enterprise are more on the optimization stage. Now, how do you think, how different should the Gen AI using sales we should uh, be mindful of while doing targeting into these segments,
Yeah.
namely SMB, mid market, and enterprise? Now, think of it this way. Let's say Neeraj is reaching out to Sprouts, which is purely a startup and growing fast, vis-a-vis, let's say, you mentioned about a big companies like Fortune 500 companies. There, the motion is completely different. So, how GenAI is going to help in these two different kind of motions when looking at an outreach?
Absolutely, yeah. So, we all know enterprise sales is complex, and the sales cycles are really long. It takes 6 to 9 months to close an enterprise deal, and the volume of enterprise deals are also low versus the high volume sales for SMBs. And so, the product messaging is very different for SMBs and for enterprise. Now, generative AI is very important because we need to figure out how to give enough context. So whatever the Gen AI tool you're using, if you're using Claude, like I just invested into Anthropic, so I am a huge fan of Claude, and I actually experimented with Claude versus OpenAI. I still think that Claude is way better than OpenAI as of now. I don't know in the future. The point is that you, as the outbound person, or you as a CMO, when inbound is coming in, you need to make sure that whatever the enterprise generative AI tool you're using, generative AI tool you're using, you are responsible for giving the context to this tool, right? Because again, humans are now going to go away, and now going back to SMBs is all about large volume, and it's all about the messaging. They want a quick value so that they can start paying you every month or every year, and then they can just start seeing value from the tool itself. And let's say if you're using a generative AI approach to build a sales momentum or go-to-market momentum for your SMB strategy, I'm actually rephrasing the question a little bit. You have to be careful on the messaging itself, on the pricing itself, and also, what are the different touch points that you're going to have as part of building a framework using generative AI. This is for the SMBs, because SMB is come in quick, get out quick. That means that somebody comes in, you close the deal, you stay in touch. Customer success team plays a key role so that there is no churn, and the customer is happy, and then and then you need to figure out how to do product-led growth as part of the SMB strategies, right? So, yeah, generative AI plays a huge role. Now, enterprise sales is whole different ballgame, and which I am expert in. When it comes to generative AI, I leverage less generative AI as part of the enterprise, because we all, as enterprise salespeople, we have a strategic accounts. We work on 50, 60 different accounts. We have to do hyper personalization as part of the enterprise account. But I do want to highlight something important. When you're using generative AI tool to do your enterprise go to market, enterprise tool go to market, or outbound or inbound, same thing involves, you need to make sure that the hyper personalization is there in a way where it adds a value for multiple groups within the enterprise. It's not only one group is buying. And the last piece is, as I mentioned, right, sales process is very long. You want to make sure that when you do a proof of value or proof of concept with the enterprise, you're following an approach. So I'm just going to, as a part of my closing statement, I have a framework which I built over the last few years as a sales engineer. It's called STP, show, tell, prove. So when I get on the call, let's say, Avi, you're my customer or you're my prospect, I will tell Avi, as part of proof of concept, proof of value, I'm going to show you something. That means I will do demos for you. Then I'm going to show, tell, prove. Then I'm going to tell you something. That means I will do a deep dive. It's in the roadmap. then I'm going to prove you something. That means that I will give you access to my platform, or I will install something for you, and then you can prove out your use case. So that STP framework, which I built over the last few years based on my experience, that actually reduced the POC cycle from 3 months to 2 weeks or 4 weeks.
Amazing, amazing. No, I completely agree with the point of STP, which is show, tell, and proof. Like usually, what happens, Neeraj, I have seen that, including me, at early days of my sales, I was jumping directly into the proof,
Yeah.
right, or not telling enough things, right, like directly telling them and going that. But yeah, this frameworks directionally give us an idea in terms of how to go about enterprise sales. Uh, just to take a step back, what you mentioned was at enterprise level you should be very contextually relevant when you're doing messaging. At SMB stage you should leverage GenAI on what kind of touch points you're doing and make it more repeatable.
Yep.
Fair enough. Right. Neeraj, that takes to a next point, which is while we all know that Gen AI has been, like fairly a new term and a new technology in terms of, how it is getting used or adopted. Uh, how do you think that companies which are just starting to use Gen AI, how they should think about it? Like, what are like basic 4 to 5 steps, let's say in sales, if they want to implement Gen AI to help them get better results? What are like basic hygiene things they have to do to get up to the speed?
Yeah. I think so there are two. Let's take an example. So there are two different sales momentums. So let's say you are early stage startup, and then you are a Series C onward startup. So my
Yeah.
expertise ends at Series B. So the startups that I have worked with, I have worked with those founders, went from pre-seed to Series B. It's
Mm-hmm.
all about the product market fit, because when a VC gives you money for seed, that means that you have an idea, and now I'm giving you $5 million or $10 million. That means that you take that idea and take it to the next level, where you can start building the product. And as you start building the product, you start acquiring some customers, and as you acquire customers, then you can apply for Series A, and Series A to Series B, you do product market fit. Then after Series B, you can start building more scalable sales momentum. Right now, the foundation when it comes to generative AI, for the early stage startups, the foundation itself is very important, because we all want to talk about generative AI, large language model, RAG framework, all the buzz terms. But the smart people, smart buyers, they know that this is a marketing bluff or this is a true thing. Perfect example. So when I work with next level prospects, so people come in, they will say, "Hey, Neeraj, you know what? My boss, like CIO or somebody, hey, my boss asked me to build a generative AI solution. I went on Google, I downloaded some stuff, I built my own RAG framework. We did a POC, and POC went fine, but now I need to build a scalable enterprise-ready solution. I don't know how to do it." And this is where conversation takes place. Listen, I have a generative AI solution where I can help you, where you can build the enterprise ready rack framework with all the data, all the security and governance. Right now, the point I'm trying to make here is that the foundation of the solution service that you're providing is very important. And now what I do is, as part of my go to market strategy, I am leveraging various generative AI solutions at the very early stage. So for
Okay.
me, data quality is very important. So many
Yep.
tools, so much stuff going on. As a tester, as a person, because as a user, I have to make sure that I test the quality of the solution or service that is being provided to me. Vice versa, when I provide a generative AI service or product to my customers, I want to make sure the quality is there. Now, two things which I really, really want to highlight: ethical AI.
Mhm.
That plays a huge role, because you want to make sure that there's no biased opinion of any product or service that you're providing, right? And
Yep.
uh, and don't do anything without having proper security and governance in place. Either you are providing a service, or either you're reaching out to somebody, or either you're building a product or service. So all these different three key points which I mentioned, your foundation, your data quality, the quality of that outreach or inbound that you're creating for your prospects, and ethics plays a huge role. And you want to make sure that whenever you're building a solution product, you take care of these three different factors.
Absolutely. Completely agree. I think you have summarized it well in 3 points. Neeraj, we are like about time, Neeraj, but I
Yeah.
would like to take one last question before we, conclude this session. You are an active angel investor and mentor for multiple startups. Can you share a few key takeaways from your investment journeys, right? Like highlight what kind of startups are in better position to leverage AI and scalable growth. Like what does goes in your mind when you invest in these startups and mentor them?
Yeah. So the most important thing for me is the founders. I have given money to folks where they do not have a tool, but they have a really cool background. Like they are hustlers.
Mhm.
My long time ago when I moved from engineering to sales, my mentor told me that people buy from people. They said, Neeraj, if you're honest, if you can build a trust with somebody, no matter what you're selling, they will buy from you, which is so true. And touch wood, so far I have been very lucky / been very successful. So when I write a investment check to somebody, I always look at the profile of the person who I'm talking to. There are a lot of founders I talk to. They are very arrogant, cocky, and there's no connection. So I don't give them money. So number one is the people, right? The human connection, and
Okay.
of course, there are some checks which I have written where I didn't feel connected with the founders, but I'm not, as an angel investor, I'm not going to spend too much time with the founder. So
Mhm.
I always look at their product offering itself, because if you have a product, an amazing product market fit, you don't want to walk away by not investing in this just because you don't like this founder, because as an angel investor, you're not spending too much time with these founders. The most important thing which I always focus on is whether you're solving a real problem, because angel investment is hard because it's very risky. You're writing a check at the very early stage. So if you are solving a true pain point / a problem for the prospects and customers, I, that's another second factor which I always consider while I write a check to a founder.
Got it. Got it. So, to all the audience out there, if you are solving a real problem, you know whom to reach out to. So, thank you, Neeraj. We are almost about time, but this session I'm taking away like with a lot of learnings in terms of how to think about Gen AI in sales and scale. I think this entire go-to-market motion using Gen AI is here to disrupt the way we operate today, and the way it's going to be in the future is going to be very different. I think it will be very contextual and more effective. So, thank you for sharing all your inputs. Love
Absolutely.
the conversation, and we will be staying in touch, Neeraj. Thank you so much for
Awesome.
taking our time and talking at Sprouts Weekly.
Thank you, Avi. Nice meeting you. Thanks.
Yeah.